Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Jagdish Shah from Mumbai. We are in lockdown for last a month or so, thanks to Corona. We are in new world order, Corona age as we call it. About 3 months back, no one had thought that we would be locked down. This is what we call it as Almighty, who is above all the superpowers. And we had a wrong notion that we could do anything. Even as a doctor, we thought we would be able to treat and cure a lot many diseases. But the God, the Almighty, whatever name you call it, Jesus, Allah, or even Bhagwan, we have to accept our defeat at one point of time. And in my life, this is the biggest defeat which I accept very humbly. Well, this Corona, let's understand what's Corona. Corona is a virus, or rather a family of viruses. And COVID-19 is a disease caused by Corona. Now, if you have to understand, Vivax is a parasite which causes malaria. So Vivax is a parasite and malaria is a disease. Same corollary applies here, that the Corona is a virus and the COVID-19 is a disease. So if you understand COVID-19, CO stands for Corona, V stands for virus, D stands for disease, so coronavirus disease, and 19 stands for 2019, where it appears for the first time in China in humans. Supposed to be transmitted from bats. It's even known to be transmitted in camel. So the first incidents that happened in China, in Wuhan, the Hubei district of Wuhan, and it was supposed to be in a virology institute where the research work was going on virology, on the viruses, and it is understood, or rather officially stated by the Institute of Virology in Wuhan, that one of the staff, by mistake carried this virus home due to some security lapse, and she infected the boyfriend, and the rest is the history, as you know. So from China, the seriousness probably was not understood. The transportation by air, by road, by sea continued all throughout the world, and the disease spread to other parts of the continents and the countries, and from there the cities, and then the small places and whatnot, which you have been seeing day to day in news channels as well as in print media. So the Indian story is that in January, the medical student from China came back in Kerala, the state of Kerala, and he was discovered positive. But by that time, the disease spread it. At the same time, there were many more who came from abroad, and probably they were asymptomatic. We had no idea at that time except for thermal screening at the airport. So the virus had its own way out. And again, we see the repercussion in 2-3 months that the cases have been increasing all throughout because of a chain reaction. And we are trying our best to control it. But at the same time, it has become little difficult because the exact modality, exact modus operandi of this particular virus, I call it as a malignant virus. Like we have tumors in body, some of them are benign, that means they don't trouble us, whereas some of them or few of them are malignant, that means cancerous. So supposing you have influenza virus, we get common cold, we get some cough and cold, all of us must have got that. And this is due to influenza A and B virus. These are normal viruses, they are harmless, they are benign. Whereas this virus family is day by day increasing its strength and showing something like malignancy or cancer. The family itself, like we had earlier suffered the trauma due to the same family of viruses like SARS in 2002, the MERS illness in 2012, and now the corona, that is corona 2. So the full name, the technical name is SARS corona 2. Now, unfortunately, the cases started doubling and multiplying in a very short span of time, which no one had anticipated. So in March 2020, the WHO announced it as a pandemic disease. The word pandemic is used for a widespread disease actually affecting the whole globe, the whole world. So now, this pandemic, or rather before this pandemic, we had one other pandemic like diabetes and other chronic diseases. What are they? Number 1 is diabetes. Number 2 is blood pressure or hypertension. Number 3 is kidney diseases, chronic renal failure. Number 4 is lung diseases like asthma and emphysema and interstitial lung diseases and heart diseases. Moreover, we had, or rather, most of our patients group, they consume tobacco in any form, by smoking, by chewing, by inhaling, by rubbing the gums, by snuffing. These habits, dirty habits I would call it, they have increased the strength of this virus. So, we are facing a double trauma. Number 1 is through virus itself, and number 2 is because the presence of these chronic diseases. So, people who are old, above 60, they are more vulnerable because they reduce immunity, and number 2 is most of them, they suffer from one of this disease at least like blood pressure or diabetes or cancer or rheumatoid arthritis or any autoimmune disorders or renal failure or tobacco or alcohol. And this group becomes highly vulnerable, and that's why the death rates above the age of 60-65 is very high. However, we must thank this disease, corona, or at least I would thank, because it has changed the world order. That's number one. Number two, it has played a major role in uniting the families. Many of us must have thought we must be together as a family and pass some quality time with the family. But unfortunately, the rat race, the life was so busy that we could not, even though we thought we could not contemplate, except for 1 or 2, 3 days, where in a year probably, where we were together, or on Sundays, even Sundays, the Bombay life is so busy that people were never together. The whole family was probably never together. Some of had to go somewhere, some of had to attend some function, something. So it's a very high time. I don't even remember in my lifetime that probably me and the whole of my family, my parents, who are no more now, I repent that they are no more. And the silver line is that we have understood the importance of the family. That's number one. Number two is, we must have thought of doing so many things, in life, that we would do this, we have some hobby of music or some painting or some listening or something like, some good movies or some good books to read. Unfortunately, we could not do it. Say, for example, if a person is 60 and say life story is say 80, then he has got probably 20 years to live. And 20 years means 1 year is equivalent to somewhere around 52 Sundays. And usually we get some time on Sunday to do all these activities, whatever we had thought of. So 50 Sundays in a year, in 10 years it makes about 500, and in 20 years it makes about 1000 Sundays. Out of you remove say 50% because of your social activities, so it comes to somewhere around 500 Sundays. In 500 Sundays, I don't think I would have done or given justice so many things which I wanted to do. So God has given you another 100 more Sundays suddenly, and you must utilize this to the benefit, and thank God that He has given you so much of time to be with the family, to cultivate your own hobbies, and to understand life in its real perspective. Not only that, what I personally feel is that we have to introspect that our people, our own staff, our own well-wishers, how much important they are to us, and whatever best we can do and we thought of doing, probably this is the right time to reciprocate. So take your phone and tell everyone that, hey, look here, I'm there. I must thank you for all that what you've done throughout this life to me, and I would like to reciprocate in the best of the way which I can. Another thing which I want to tell you is that this is the time to change our lifestyle. Whenever we go to doctors or whenever someone comes to me as a doctor, I tell them to change their lifestyle. And probably they listen and they go, and probably whenever they come back, I ask them, have we been able to do this? They say, we have no time. So I would tell you in short what I suggest them and what I want you to do to change your lifestyle so that you can control these chronic diseases. You cannot control corona, but surely you can control the propelling effect of these chronic diseases. So to control these chronic diseases, I usually counsel that you control 6 things. In short, I will tell you 2 groups of 3, so you remember. Number 1 is SOS. What is SOS? S stands for salt, O stands for oil, and the third S again stands for sugar. So if you control your salt, you control your blood pressure and you control weight, because salt absorbs water and together you put on weight, and once you put on that weight, it's very difficult to reduce. It's my own experience as a doctor. So salt, where do you get salt? Salt you get, if you have to remember easily, the Guju food is Gathia, where salt is plenty. Forget about that, even all the snacks and other things, you get salt. You go to Lay's supermarket, buy Lay's, buy Kurkure, buy any of the packet packs, and you find salt inside. You'll be surprised to know that this particular Lay's, which is very common food, which children, they like it and they always insist, and we, whenever they cry, we just give them a gift or a packet of Lay's without realizing how much salt we are putting inside them. It's very addictive. So next time they come, they want it and we surrender to them, but without realizing that the normal requirement of a human body is not more than 3 to 5 grams of salt per day. And one pack of Lay's, you give it to your child, you are giving almost the 3 times more salt than the daily requirement. So how much damage we are doing without realizing what we are doing to them. So next time, just remember, when you're buying this. Another thing is, when you ask, or when I ask my patients, what are you having in your lunch and dinner? They say, no, simple, it's just a roti and sabji and all these things, and rice at the most. But when I ask them in details, they come out with the truth that they are taking pickles, they are taking papads, they are taking chutneys, all sorts of things. And these are, they are quantity wise, they look very small, but they have fantastic amount of salt. And that's why all of us, by the time we reach 50, we develop blood pressure. Because it is not that at the age of 49 you never had blood pressure, but it is a cumulative effect right from 5 years to 50 years, what salt you are putting, that gives you a blood pressure, that makes your arteries very hard, and it's a beginning of your first heart attack or stroke, believe me. The second thing is oil. The classic example of oil is bhajia, okay, or any other again snacks. Not only that, it again produces the seed for the future heart attack or stroke by depositing cholesterol on the internal lining of your blood vessels, making them thinner. So, salt makes it harder, they can't expand the arteries, the blood vessel, and this puts one line of cholesterol inside, which makes it again thinner. The third thing is sugar. The third is, I told you, SOS, salt, oil, sugar. The last thing is sugar, and the most dangerous out of three. What is sugar is, if you remember, jalebi. I give that example. Jalebi means anything which is sweet, anything which your tongue likes. And this sugar, when it is there for a long time, it produces inflammation in the arteries. What is that inflammation? Supposing I keep on rubbing my head for a long time, I will develop a kind of hardness here. The skin will become hard. So the same thing happens to the arteries. That's called inflammation. Sujan in Hindi, what we call it. So when someone punches you, you get swelling. That's called inflammation. So this sugar gives rise to inflammation, and again your artery, which was this much, because of salt comes like this, because of oil comes like this, because of sugar it becomes very thin, and then one find you get severe chest pain. You're taken to a doctor, he takes your cardiogram and says, well, look here, you got a heart attack. Now this heart attack which you get at 70, 80, 65 is the end result of all these three musketeers. So you'll have to take care of them. And this is the time, this God has given you this time, probably even to me, to explain you these three musketeers. And if I can achieve the target, I would call myself lucky that probably I could pass on the message of God to you. The another set which is troubling you and causing the problem, finally we die of heart attack or stroke. So the another set which I'm trying to give you some ideology is SAS. What is SAS? Is the first S is smoking. Very dangerous. If you have to understand, if SOS and the S is there, it's a deadly combination. So smoking is another thing which is killing us. The fifth thing is A again, and that stands for alcohol. Alcohol will spoil your liver for sure. And the third S stands for smoking. I'm sorry, it stands for stress. The stress is again increasing. It's a vicious circle. Stress increases again your blood pressure, increases your sugar, increases your cholesterol. So if you have to understand, the blood pressure is a father, diabetes is a mother, and cholesterol is a child. All these three is a deadly combination. On top of that, if you have smoking and alcohol, very deadly. And on top of that, if you got stress, God save you. And stress is very easy to control. Very easy. You have to understand one thing to distress yourself, that you have come unto this world for a vacation. Say for example, you're going to Goa or Mahabaleshwar, or for that matter any of the country, and you go there for say 1 week or 10 days at the most, and you don't worry there. Once you are there, you enjoy your vacation, isn't it? You're not worried about anything. Same thing, if you put the same corollary here, you come to this planet Earth for a vacation. And once you understand that this is a vacation, these 100 years, supposing we are likely to live for 100 years, say for example, in comparison to the thousands of years of history of this planet, this 100 year is nothing, absolutely nothing. It's a vacation. So, once you are on vacation, you are stress free, absolutely. All of us, once we go on vacation, we are stress free. So, you think that this is a vacation. You come to enjoy the planet Earth, from where, I don't know from where we have to go again. Go back after finishing this vacation. So, enjoy this vacation, in short. This is what I would. And once you fix up in your mind that you are enjoying this vacation, believe me, you will be definitely stress free. So you won't need tobacco, smoke, alcohol, nothing. Your blood pressure, your diabetes, your cholesterol, everything will be controlled without even medicine. Let me tell you very briefly that if you can achieve this and take this particular time frame which God has given us, use this time frame in such a way and understand how to remain stress free, probably things will be very easy and you'll feel that this life is very simple. We have made it complicated. One more thing, what I want to tell you: A, B, C, D, E. A stands for HbA1c, A1c. That is a short form or a control of a sugar. So control your sugar. B stands for blood pressure, control your blood pressure. C stands for cholesterol, control it. D stands for diet, have a proper nourishing diet. This is the time which many people, they try to, or they indulge in overeating, they indulge in snacks, frequent snacks, and laziness. And so you've got two options: either you eat and sleep during this time of lockdown and increase your weight, increase your cholesterol, increase your sugar, increase your blood pressure. God forbid you get COVID, my God, you will be in ICU straight. So if you can understand and utilize this particular time what God has given, along with enjoying with your family, you can do exercises, you can control your diet, plan out your diet, have frequent but very very small meals. If you want, you can check your blood pressure before and after 30 minutes walk, and you will find out that there is a substantial difference. Say before walking your blood pressure was your diabetes sugar was 200. After walking it will come down to 150. So 50 points difference. So every minute your sugar is coming down to something. So at the end, I would love you all to understand this, whatever I have been talking to you for past 30 minutes, and try and understand your life in a proper perspective. Utilize this mechanism SOS, SAS, ABCDE, which I have told you. It will try and correct your blood pressure, your sugar, your cholesterol, won't give you any heart attack, won't give you any stroke, and at the end of the day, you'll remain healthy without even medicines, without even a doctor. In last 30 days of my practice, where I am at home and probably doing a kind of telemedicine, at the same time on a help desk where people from all over the globe, especially all walks of life, they talk to me. And one thing I've realized that all of them at this particular frame of time, they are thinking about COVID and nothing else. It seems that there is no disease on the earth except COVID. So probably those people, they have forgotten the other diseases like headache or like backache or like chest pain or whatever it is. At the major institution, the doctor colleagues of mine, they tell me that the rate of heart attacks, rate of admission of strokes have reduced by almost 50 to 75%. That means if they were seeing about 4 heart attacks and 2 stroke in a day, now they are seeing only 1 heart attack and 1 stroke in 2 days. So that much is the power of concentration, what I call it as meditation. So people are now meditating and concentrating about corona, so they probably get corona effect. And probably the secondary affection of psychology, or other fear psychology, or other what we call it as COVID phobia, covidophobia. It's a new term now which is coming out in psychiatric journals. And this covidophobia or fear psychosis, what we call it, is engulfing the people. And in return, what I told you, that stress is a major killer. Stress can produce diabetes, stress can produce blood pressure, stress can produce cholesterol. And in turn, these 3 things together can produce heart attack, can produce stroke, and kill you at the end. So, if you can understand that this fear psychosis, once it is removed, practically you can control all the diseases, and most of the diseases, mind you, are psychosomatic. And because of these psychosomatic disorders, the whole body probably gets a kind of inflammation, which I told you, and this inflammation caused by sugar, salt and oil, subsequently producing diabetes, blood pressure and cholesterol. If you can understand this in a very brief, then probably the life would become simple and easy for all of us. At the end, till this crisis gets over, let's hope that it gets over very soon, I request all of you to stay home, have a safe distance, don't go out unnecessarily, take care of your older parents, older age group people, and get them vaccinated. You also get vaccinated once this particular pandemic is over, with the advice of your doctors. I thank you all, and I wish I could have helped you further. And in my endeavor to give you some ideology, I think if you practice the safe ideology which I have been talking to you for last half an hour, if it makes some changes in your life, I would be grateful. I must thank you all. God bless you. Thank you.